Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Liv. I'm a cosplaying variety streamer that streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/livviiy, livviiy. We usually do a lot of Souls and Souls-like challenge runs and Sekiro Speed runs. And today I would like to talk about the livviiy.bsky trailer that got released a couple of days ago during State of Play. We have done a lot of livviiy challenge runs, such as these ones here. I did not expect anything to actually be shown for livviiy.bsky during State of Play. So from the excitement, I did miss a couple of things, and now I've gone back and rewatched the trailer multiple times. I also watched a couple of breakdown videos, and I wanted to talk about my thoughts and what I noticed, some things that I picked up that some people may not have, and yeah, I'm very excited for this DLC to come out. We also have done a Sophia cosplay, as you can see behind me. This is Sophia's jacket. I hand embroidered all of the stitching, which I don't recommend use a machine because my fingers were absolutely gone by the end of it. Also, the butterfly brooch I did make as well, and there were a lot of other elements that I did make, and if you'd like to see them, they are on my Instagram and my TikTok. I usually post cosplays there. I'm livviiy everywhere if you'd like to stay up to date with any other content, but if you do like this video, make sure to give it a like and a subscribe so you can stay up to date for any future videos, any future game reaction videos, and also challenge runs as well. Alright, let's get into it, shall we? So right at the start, we see what seems to be like an amulet, a trinket, that actually lets out a butterfly. Now at the start, when I first originally reacted to this, I thought that these events and the DLC were set after the main game. However, there are a lot of indicators in this trailer that suggest that we have actually gone back in time before the downfall of Krot. So I'm thinking that this amulet might be something from Sophia to give us even more power to manipulate time so that we are able to go back in time. That's where my thoughts are with this. It might help explain how we have been able to go backwards. I also love the music so much. It is such a great soundtrack. I can't wait to listen to the DLC soundtrack.
How can it be winter all of a sudden?
And also here, Jiminy asking, how can it be winter all of a sudden? That was one of the big indicators for me. Well, at first I thought it was winter, so I'm like, oh my god, how much time had passed? But because of the word all of a sudden, that suggests that there is an instant change, so an instant time travel in the past. So that there also tells us that yes, this is going to be set in the past. Also, when I first reacted to this, I noticed, I was like, oh, are we going to be going to the zoo or some kind of museum? Because here we have some giraffes, we have some elephants, possibly some flamingos there. So that's why I thought that was the area that we were going to be venturing towards. Also, the hot air balloons look really cool. I feel like they are more floating around to promote the museum with these banners and flyers, perhaps, because there's quite a few around, but it doesn't seem like there's any baskets to be carrying anyone. So that's why I think that they're more for promoting the museum.
I'm sorry. You want to know the year?
And also this mysterious character is also asking us, do we want to know the year? So at first, again, I thought that this was in the future, and I was thinking, how many years have passed? Where are we? What's going on? But now it's actually set before. Did we time travel back before Krot was completely destroyed? Were we time traveled to the point where it's starting to begin for the downfall of Krot? We don't really know, so I'm very excited to find this out.
What a pleasure to meet a stalker worthy of the name.
Also here, we do see the submarine that takes us to Alchemist Isle. I will touch on this in just a little bit later, but I'm very curious to know if we are going to be visiting Alchemist Isle again in the DLC, and why they decided to include the submarine in this particular in this trailer, because if we're not going to be revisiting, why was it shown? But it is really cool to see this again, but I will touch on why I find this very intriguing a little bit later.
It's been far too long.
So this confirmed me speculating about the museum kind of like atmosphere that we'll be exploring. But this particular scene is very brutal. There is quite literally a body that has been skewered with the tusk. There's bodies that have been hanging from the ceiling that also imitate like the hanging birds that are part of the exhibition. So it's very morbid to see that. There's also like the staircase has got a whole chunk missing. There's so much destruction here. So are we at the start of when Krat began to fall? Are we being able to see Krat before and how it was meant to be, the puppets being as they were intended, everyone working in harmony? I would love to see that, because if that's the case, it is very similar to the Burial at Sea DLC for Bioshock Infinite, where we got to see Rapture before its downfall and its demise. I think that would be such a very exciting thing to explore in Lies of P, because we get to have a feel for what the world was truly like, and how everything kind of unraveled. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. And another indicator that we are in the past, I'm not sure, I will say I'm not sure if there has been any confirmation that the DLC was set in the past. That being said, it was never on my mind to look that up. I wanted the DLC to kind of be, I didn't want it to be spoiled, so I had no idea what the DLC was entailing. I honestly thought that it was more of how the main game ended with Wizard of Oz stuff. So this is completely new for me, and if it has been stated that yes, it is set in the past, I have not seen that before. So this is my speculation based on what I've seen in this trailer. So if anyone does know that, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know if that's fact, or if it's just speculation with what I'm seeing. The reason why I think we're in the past for this particular moment is because the cat is actually a kitten. So it's a baby kitten, and it's very cute. Another thing that I was completely like immersed by was the Legion arm. I think it looks like porcelain, and it's so fragile. Because I was so focused on the Legion arm, I completely missed the double barrel shotgun that was attached to the Legion arm. So I find that such an insane contrast between something that looks so fragile to something so destructive. I also think the winter outfit that P is wearing is stunning. I really hope that this isn't like an exclusive that you can only get through a pre-order, because I think everyone should have access to this outfit. I also really want the yellow cone to be accessible for everyone, because it's my favorite and everyone should be able to wear it. And also in the DLC, I think the stitch, like the stitching on the leather is so well done and so visible as well. I think all the details on the costume have been shown very well. What I find interesting in a lot of games is the way that game developers are able to recreate materials. So not just like clothing material like leather, cotton. I think also like, in this instance, what seems to me like porcelain, metal. I think it's really amazing how we're able to replicate that in a game. So that being shown so well in this is so appealing to me. Now, one thing I noticed that I didn't really see a lot of other people pick up on, actually, I don't think I saw anyone from what I've seen. There's probably people out there that have also noticed this too, but I have not seen it yet. I noticed that there was actually a parade master dolls in the background of this scene. Now, we were mainly focused on P dancing, adorable, you know, look at them tapping skills. But when I rewatched this, I was like, hold on a minute. I recognize that. That's the parade master's top hat. And so that also plays on the idea that we get to see the puppets being as they were intended. You know, the parade master's description is actually, I'll read it out in just a moment, is actually, it was built for entertainment, but the frenzy had turned him into a formidable foe. So this puppet was intended for happiness, joy, for children, and we see that with toys that have been produced of the parade master. So for such an iconic figure to be turned so brutal and evil, you could imagine like the kids just being terrified. I find that so interesting because I really hope that we get to see the life of Krupp before it went to, before the downhill of it. So I think that's really, really interesting to have included these toys here. Also, like the Mad Clown. I'm not sure if this one is exactly the Mad Clown puppet, but it looks very similar to it. So I think that's very, very cool to know that there were so much excitement over the puppets that even toys were being made of them. And then we also get to see P dancing.
You're not the puppet I was expecting.
Okay, so this is a character that I have some thoughts on. I feel that this character here is Geppetto's wife, Camille. We know of this character from some in-game collectibles such as books, statues, but the one thing that makes me think this so much is this here is the hand, is because this is what Geppetto used at the end with Nameless Puppet. So it seems like whatever this kind of puppet in the background is also being controlled by this, which was very similar to Nameless Puppet. I feel like this has to be Camille. The only reason I thought that otherwise and would possibly be Luxasia was honestly the leg kind of like straps. I think that those were very similar to Luxasia, also the blue skin, but I feel like it leads more to Camille. Camille, for those that don't know, was the first puppet that had ego and was initially made to be a maid puppet, but then saved a falling baby, which was very much out of their programming. And because of that, the alchemist decided to, you know, investigate and in a sense just break apart Camille. There is a statue outside the opera house that I think has like a quote similar to it was from Geppetto saying how he misses Camille and the happiest days was with their family. There, during Camille's interrogation and being tortured, Camille had said, "Oh, take me back to my child." Are we talking about Carlo? Are we talking about the baby that was falling? The thing is as well, like, you're not the puppet I was expecting. Like, who were you expecting in the end? I'm super intrigued to find out more about this character. Also, I would love to cosplay this outfit. It's stunning.
Who are you?
She was looking for someone. Legend.
So I'm not entirely sure with this character. Guys, if you do know anything about this one, please let me know. I haven't done too much research for finding out who this is, but it's just a lot of wax leading up into this main central figure who... kind of gross. This particular scene, because it happened so very quickly, when I first reacted to this, all I was thinking was, oh, I wonder who this character is. After much more research and rewatching the trailer, this, I believe, is the legendary stalker, which is what I think the whole DLC is going to be based around. We've been trying to figure out who the legendary stalker is from main game. We've been hearing so many different things, quotes from other stalkers as well. I'll I'll get into a little bit more depth on that in just a moment. But one thing that's really, really interesting with this, and the reason why I think this is a legendary stalker is, and now going back to when I was talking about the submarine and Alchemist Isle, is when we get to see the memories of Carlo. And there is one particular point where there is a figure that is much younger, but looks exactly like this stalker because of like the big feather, the outfit. And Carlo is saying that they want to be trained by this person. This person says, like, refuses Carlo and says, Jiminy, take him away, I don't want this. So not only do we now know that this is Jiminy's original owner, and we can also see that here by the lamp. We have our lamp, which is lit up. This lamp is not lit up. It's very interesting. I think that that's why that's that character, because of the lamps and that flashback, that memory. Another thing I want to take note of is there is quotes from other stalkers, such as the Red Fox. When you are fighting the Red Fox before Manus, there is a line the fox says, which is along the lines of, your fighting style reminds me of the legendary stalker. So playing this, like taking a few steps back with what we just said, Carlo asked this person to train them, they refused. But what if they actually did train them and Carlo's memories is now in P and we learned those fighting styles? I think that that makes so much sense, and this fits perfectly to be the legendary stalker. I think also this is going to be one of the most intense interactions between the characters, because this character would have witnessed Carlos's death. And then to see Carlos as a puppet, and not only that, but Jiminy as well. Would Jiminy remember who this is? I'm really curious about how the humanity comes into play with the DLC. Like, going back to the cat, we were able to interact with the kitten. So does that mean that all of our humanity has been restored? But what happens if we did not, as a player, choose to be fully human? Would there be interactions in the DLC to let us get more humanity? Or what would happen? I'm very curious. I'm curious to see the interactions between all these different characters that are set from the past.
Only because no one else could. Too many.
Now here is really exciting, because we pull out this trumpet.
Stalkers were lost to that evil.
We summon Alador. At first, because when I reacted to this, again, I thought this was set in the future. I was like, is this Hugo? But now that we now know that this is set in the past, this means that we are actually interacting with the original Alador, not the imposter, the very, very real Alador. And we get to fight alongside them, which I think is really cool. We get to see them in the prime, see how they fought, what they were all about. And not only that, but this is very, very quick, so it is hard to see, but this here is the two dragon sword. And I was very curious about this, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about that. So I quickly looked up the description for the two dragon sword, and it is a precious sword that was at the Grand Exhibition Gallery. They say it was the saber of a commander from a quiet eastern land. The sea remembers the vow of the warrior. The general who rose up with the dragon to protect the people claimed a lonely victory in dozens of war, which feels so much like we're talking about Aladoro here. So that's why I think that in this DLC is we are actually going to be meeting the real Aladoro, which I think is also, again, very exciting. We get to see everything how it was intended before everything turned to crap, basically. Also here, this was also something that I didn't pick up initially, but after watching the trailer a couple of times, this is a booster glaive handle, and honestly, really fun handle to use if you haven't. It's very, very neat. I was curious as to why they included, well, at least gave this particular character a booster glaive handle. So once again, I decided to take a look at the description for the booster glaive handle, and it is the handle of a glaive assembled by a stalker by attaching booster equipment together. Booster attacks are tricky but fast and powerful. Not enough firepower? Just add more. A hot-tempered stalker's invention turned out to be more useful than expected and came to be used frequently among stalkers. So I'm really curious, is this that stalker that literally created the booster glaive handle? Because that would be so cool to be able to fight up against you. At the same time, I don't want to fight you. I just want to praise you because I like that handle. But again, speculation, but that's where my mind went. So I think that that would be very neat if that's the case. And also, again, we do see a new Legion arm here. I don't know if this is, the bow and arrow is solely linked to this Legion arm, or are they separate weapons, so separate weapon to Legion. Either way, we get a ranged weapon, which I think is really, really cool. This looks so neat. And again, super, super intricate details on this Legion arm. I will say that is terrifying though. What are we basing these off? Australia? We have enough. Okay, so this happened very quickly and there was a lot of visual stuff happening when I first reacted to this. I didn't actually notice these at all, but we get Wolverine claws. Now, there is something that I wanted to mention. Again, this is just where my thoughts are. Could be wrong, could be right, who knows. Would be really cool if this one is actually right though. These look like they can retract. There is a little section where you can retract them. If we could retract these similar to Bloodborne's transforming weapons, I think this would be such a cool weapon to use. Like, we could have short range weapons with a long range if we extend them. Maybe we could play on, you know, transformation combos and stuff like that. Nevertheless, either way, we still get some claws, and it looks like a lot of quick succession attacks, very, very, very fast. So I like that.
I'll do whatever it takes.
So we have here the gun blade, which I think is very cool. We're all hoping for something like this, and is also very similar to Final Fantasy VIII. But there's also one other thing. Right after you shoot it, the knockback from the recoil sends us back. I think this can be so handy in combat, because if we are really close to the boss and there's just a move that we don't maybe have enough stamina to roll out of, we just can't run out of it, if we shoot that and it pulls us back out, that can be so helpful. Like, really, really helpful. I'm very excited to use this.
Your survival is all that matters.
Also, yes, 2 blue balls. First P organ, now 2 blue balls. That also being said, I don't think, other than the Black Rabbit Brotherhood fight, and this is what I mentioned during our live reaction, I don't think there were a duo fight or anything, so I think this might be it, which is really cool. Also, no more Black Rabbit Brotherhoods, please. No.
Nothing else comes close.
And again, this, I instantly said when I saw this, is so much like Stellar Blade's finisher move and also Devil May Cry. And I am so glad that P gets to use this too. Such a cool takedown.
My life. I swear I won't be late. Not again.
I'm very excited for this. All right, let me just take away this for a moment. What I'm most curious about is just, again, how our humanity will let us interact with certain characters. I'm also curious to know with the time travel, because we know time travel is very messy. We've seen it in books, movies, games. It can go a couple of ways. I'm curious to see if us going in the past will alter the future for the better, or if us going into the past is what ultimately led us to our own demise, if that makes sense. Like, you know, if we go back in time and you see yourself and everything, everything is messed up. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. My hope is that we fix Krat and everything else so it can be restored, but who knows? Who knows? If you did like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can keep up to date with any future posts, any other challenge runs we do, or reaction to game trailers like this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts if there were things that you picked up that perhaps I didn't pick up. I would love to hear what was the most exciting thing for you from the trailer. I'm very, very excited. If you would like to see some more cosplays, I have done a Sophia cosplay. This is the jacket here. I post on Instagram and TikTok, mainly for cosplays, but if you want to check out my other socials, I'm livviiy everywhere, livviiy. And I will see you in the next video.